Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, we have something that I have been trying to get my hands on for years. Thing is, you can't get these anywhere locally where I live, sadly. But anyway, this is Federal's, Federal Premium 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch 1325 FPS 9 pellet double aught buck with the Flitecontrol Wad. And as you can see, these are copper plated pellets. Snooze and drink combo is this Elite Pro Owen, I don't know, plant-based 32 grams of protein shake. Chocolate, it goes pretty well with this. It is Grove, goes pretty well together. Anyway, going over the box, the front of it just has a deer on it. Says, oh yeah, this is part of Federal Premium, by the way, not just plain old Federal, but these are made in the USA. It does have Federal's little logo, if you want to call it that, in the background around the deer. We have a picture of our Flitecontrol Wad and our Buckshot. I want to count those real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep, 9. Alrighty, so yeah, the front of it looks really cool. A lot better than the previous design did. This side of it is just gold with our specs. And again, it does say it has the Flitecontrol Wad. The other side of it is the exact same thing. The back of it is just a bunch of warnings, nothing of interest there, but if you want to read anything, just pause it. This side of it, I think I have it, yeah, I thought it was upside down, is our lead warning. Again, who wants to read any of that? And this is some info about the Flitecontrol Wad, and a thank you from Federal. And there's Cannon, and over there is Ethel, 2 of my 3 cats out here disturbing me. Anyway, here is what our shell looks like. Just looks like a regular Federal high brass hull, although as we know, it is not brass, it is brass plated steel. Maroon hull and the gold always looks cool together. We have a Federal 209A primer, and this one is kind of poorly stamped. I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick that up, but it does say 12 gauge Federal. And guys, the crimp on this one, actually all 5 in the box look they look terrible, to be honest, but that's about what I've come to expect from Federal's Buckshot. I bought some about 10 years ago. I know it ain't been that long. I bought some in 2017, so that'd be 7 years ago. That looked exactly like this. They were just part of Federal's regular line. Just their straight 9-pellet double aught, as simple as you could possibly get. Those looked exactly like these premium line ones do. I don't know. But anyway, nothing special here. I am really anxious to see what's inside this. I've always been curious on how they stack the Buckshot in here. I've always wondered if they're using true 33 cal double aught or something else, 32 cal single aught, 31 cal. If they're using 31 cal, then it might be stacked in 3 layers of 3 for a total of 9 pellets. I wouldn't imagine 32, and especially not 33 cal, would actually stack by 3s in a Flitecontrol Wad because they are rather thick, but I guess we'll see. How I'm predicting they have these in here is 4 layers of 2 and then a 9th pellet on top. That would be my guess, but I'm hoping I'm wrong and they somehow figured out how to get it done by 3s. And if they have, I'm going to guess that it's 31 cal. This may be hard to pick up on camera, but they did it exactly how Remington did it with their 9-pellet double aught, which they were using 32 cal. These are stacked asymmetrically. They are not stacked by even layers. They are staggered, to put it as simple as I can. I'm just hoping that comes across well on camera. So guys, the pellet size they were using, I was sort of right. It's 31.5 cal. A 31 cal single aught pellet weighs 45 grains. And this is 46.4. A 32 cal pellet weighs 48 to 49 grains. We are right in between that, so this would be a 31.5 cal. I hope you guys can hear me. There is a loud truck that just passed over. But anyway, let's see the total lead payload weight now. And for a total lead payload weight, we have basically 0.96 of an ounce. So these are not even full ounce payloads. If you just count the lead, let's add the buffer in now, and that might get us up to about close to 1 1/8 ounces. If I had to guess. That was a train wreck of a sentence. I don't know why I said 1 1/8 ounces, because that was a really dumb guess. We are now sitting at a fuzz above 1 ounce at 1.027. So, not bad. It's just not 9 pellets of double-aught. Double-aught buck would be 33 cal. This is 31.5. That doesn't sound like much of a difference to some of you probably, but it's just not double-aught. They should have just called this a single-aught buckload, to be honest. I had to break out the calipers just to confirm, but I was going off the grain weight of each pellet, and I was right. It is 31.5 cal, actually slightly over by 5 thousandths. Actually, that'd be 5 10,000ths. But anyway, we're moving on from this. After I show this, of course, that is some really good looking buckshot, guys. It is copper plated, and it is very well plated. That honestly looks really cool to me. I wish I had some copper plated buckshot of my own to use, but I don't. And for a charge, we have 30 even of more black flake powder. Nothing of really note to see here. It is just the same black flake looking powder that we see in a lot of federal shells, although I'm sure they do custom blend, or they might be using Alliant powders, I don't know. But it's not the same powder that we find in every shell. That's not what I was implying. It is obviously different burn speeds, but it looks the same. And here's a better view of that, just because I like to show the powder up close. And finally, we get to the whole reason I wanted these shells in the first place, the wad. This is a Federal Flitecontrol Wad, and yes, their 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch ones are pink. This looks really cool. It is the same shade as the 16 gauge gas seals they use for their 16 gauge game loads. And it is somewhat transparent, but none of that really matters. What matters is what makes a Flitecontrol wad. These are non-tox wads by design, being very, very thick, heavy-duty plastic. They have a large gas cup, I guess you'd call that. The bottom of the wad has a lot of room for the powder. They also have slits in it. You guys can see those clear as day. Sometimes this phone has problems picking stuff up, but anyway, you can see the slits. You can see the slits is what I meant to say. Those open up whenever you fire them, creating air brakes, which creates drag on the wad, which strips the wad of the shot farther down range than most other wads can do, thus creating a really, really tight downrange pattern. These are the best patterning wads on the market, and they also have slits right here on the actual side of the wad. Those also open up when they're fired. We have shot Flitecontrol wads before on camera and recovered them, and we showed you guys those up close, what they look like after being fired. So if you want to go check those out, watch the 10 gauge, what were they, Federal Mag Shock 2 ounce turkey loads that we did recently. You'll find what the Flitecontrol wad looks like after being fired. I do not have any on hand right now, or I'd show you here. But the actual cup of the wad, the shot cup of it, starts where my thumb is and goes up. This is not a full length wad, even though it looks like it. You can see the bottom of the shot cup, well, if my camera would focus, is right here. If you can see the shadow of my finger, you can see it's not a full-length wad, even though, again, it looks like it. These things are awesome, guys. Completely revolutionary shotgun technology here. They make these in 10, 12, 16, and 20 gauge. I do not think they make them for 28 and 410, but if I'm wrong, correct me. They obviously don't make them for 24 and 32 gauge. But anyway, very, very cool wad. I love these things. Forgot to mention something. The claim with these has always been that they pattern best with a modified or improved cylinder choke, sometimes even cylinder bore. And when we tested the 10 gauge turkey loads that have the Flitecontrol wad, the improved cylinder definitely by far had the best pattern of the day. We fired, I think, 5 or 6 shells. The improved cylinder definitely had the win. And that leaves us with just the hull. You can see that this is basically a Federal Top Gun hull, the modern ones anyway. If you can hear that noise in the background, please try to ignore it. This has the low plastic base wad, not the fiber base wad that we typically see with Federal Premium. Nope, this one is definitely plastic. You can see our primer in there. It is a 209A. It does have the pink sealant over the primer. Straight wall. Otherwise, nothing special at all. So I'm going to slap this back together now and see if I can make the crimp look any better than Federal had it. Well, I had to step out to the front yard. Somebody was using their lawnmower a little bit too loud back there, and turns out it's no better up here, so here we are. But anyway, as you can see, the crimp looks a lot better than it did coming out of the box, but still not perfect. The plastic on these is kind of hard to work with, but it looks really good for the most part. Anyway guys, there was a breakdown on Federal Premium 12 gauge 2 3/4 inch 1325 FPS 9 pellets double aught with a Flitecontrol Wad. Very, very interesting shell. I cannot wait to do a range video on these. You guys stay tuned for that. I'm sure it'll be a good one, but we'll see you in the next one.